and she can help you out with that. So today I'm thrilled to have with us Nela Hasić and Daniel Csango. Both are grantees of JDC's Tikkun in Action program, which I'll tell you a little bit about to provide some context for our conversation. So Tikkun Olam, which is Hebrew for repairing the world, is a value at the heart of JDC's work. And the Tikkun in Action program activates this value by empowering leaders to strengthen the Jewish people by assisting others outside of their own community. Over the past 2 years, Tikkun in Action, which is a JDC-sponsored program, has funded 17 grantees, all based in Europe, by providing small grants to build up local initiatives, provide professional support, knowledge development, and networking opportunities. All of the grantees have created social enterprises that build bridges with their non-Jewish neighbors. So today we're going to be learning how Nela and Daniel are building these bridges in their own community through their incredible work. We also have with us Jude Cohen. Jude is a dear friend of Entwine's. She served as a Jewish Service Corps Fellow living in Budapest for a year in 2017 and 18. She currently lives in New York, working for Ogilvy, which is an advertising, marketing, and public relations agency. So Jude, I'll turn it over to you to lead us into what I know is going to be a really awesome and fun conversation. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Ariel. I am so excited to be here. I'm more excited to hear from Nela and Daniel. But before we do, I'll give you a quick background as to why I'm the person moderating this conversation. So as Ariel said, I spent a year working for JDC in the Hungarian Jewish community in Budapest. And as part of that year-long service fellowship, I worked with a JDC venture called The Hub, and we supported a lot of community organizations very similar and now including the ones that you are going to hear about, and really helping to build those grassroots organizations that are serving both the Jewish community and non-Jews who are either associated with the organizations or who fall within some community of service that were supported. And so I was really excited to hear about this panel, and even more excited to be asked to moderate it, to share the stories of these organizations that are doing really, really amazing and vital work in their communities. And so without further ado, I will ask Nela to introduce herself to everyone and just tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and a quick what the mission of your organization is.
So hello to everyone, and thank you very much for invitation. I'm really thrilled that again I can talk to Entwine people and share my story and the story of the program and organization I'm representing. So just a quick introduction of who I am. I'm born and raised in Sarajevo, and probably some of you heard about Sarajevo related to the terrible war happened in the 19 in Bosnia and Herzegovina. I am mother of 2, of Benjamin and Maya, and I have my wonderful husband too. I forgot my dog. So my connection with JDC started long time ago in the 90s, which I mentioned. I make my way from the JDC beneficiary to actually leader of the JDC program. So basically in 1992, I was refugee, and me and member of my family, we were rescued by JDC together with humanitarian aid of Jewish community in Sarajevo, La Benevolencia. They organize convoy and they take us out of the siege of Sarajevo. So from there, we made Aliyah. We lived 10 years in Israel. And in 2002, we back to Sarajevo. Soon after, I got, accidentally, I got the offer to help to carry out a Women Health Empowerment Program, JDC's program. And so from 2004, everything started till today, where I am director of local-based NGO Think Pink.
Thanks, Nela. And we're looking forward to hearing more about Think Pink and your work with that later. And for now, Daniel, I would love for you to introduce yourself and tell us your connection with JDC and your organization and its mission, please.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm based in Budapest, so it's a pity we didn't meet when you were staying here for a whole year.
I know, I'm really bitter about it now.
And actually, I'm working with the hub, which you have also mentioned. So I'll get to that in a second. I had a car accident 15 years ago, and probably this is the main reason which has led up to me becoming the co-founder of FREEkey, which is a Hungarian disability movement and a developing social enterprise. We are promoting the self-determination of persons with disabilities with implementing a service called personal assistance. And personal assistance became relevant for me after my accident because it was obvious that as a uh, as a person who became a wheelchair user and the quadriplegic, I needed assistance 24 hours a day. And there was no service available in Hungary which would provide me which would provide me assistance 24 hours. So I had to figure out a way for myself to employ people to become my assistants. And it's really not easy to manage a a uh, a whole service which is funded and organized by myself. And so as years passed by and I really started to understand how discrimination and oppression affects me and my whole community, it became clear that I have to become a leader. I have to build up an organization and stand up against oppression and somehow find a way to to unite everyone in the community and look for stakeholders and other supporters and allies who would one day force our government to fund a service like personal assistance. And so FREEkey is a team of 10 people now. We are mixed. Some of us are persons with disabilities. Some of us are non-disabled people, and we're allied to fight for this cause.
That is so inspiring and impressive that you saw that as a call to leadership, Daniel. And I am really intrigued and I want to know so much more. But before we do that and before I ask you the questions that I have prepared and we dive into audience questions later, I would love to show everyone who's here the videos that we have for your organizations, I think starting with FREEkey, so that everyone can get a little bit more of an understanding of what it is you do, even though you so beautifully just delivered that impassioned mission, and then we'll dive into it afterwards. I love that that video shows the juxtaposition of life before FREEkey and life with FREEkey and the services that you're able to provide to people.
Just to make things clear, we aren't there yet. So at the moment, we are building and organizing, but the service is not available at the moment. I mean, not in a way which would actually be beneficiary for everyone who is in need.
So that's the vision, right? Got it. And then Ariel, if we can play Nela's Think Pink video as well, thank you. That was so uplifting, Nela. And I would love for you, I mean, of course, Think Pink is a really big international organization, but I would love for you to tell everyone a little bit about how you got involved specifically with Think Pink and what your work looks like now. And then maybe give us a typical day-to-day in the life of your work.
Yeah, first of all, I have to say I'm so sorry that you couldn't see the video as it is because of the internet, or I don't know, some technical issues. But anyway, I will tell you. I will go back in 2004 when JDC decided to carry out a women health empowerment program in Bosnia and Herzegovina. So the name is saying by itself, it was about empowering women suffering with the breast cancer. The specific about this program is that it started in a Bosnia country vulnerable after the war and plus very much divided. So in your reality, you don't know what it means. But in our reality, we know that it means that we have three totally separate nationalities, and we have two entities. So we have three main ethnic groups, which are Muslim Bosniak, Orthodox Serbs, and Catholic Croats living in one country. And with the minority of Jewish people, we are just a little bit over 1,000 people in the country. So when I got the chance to be coordinator of the small program, I got the chance to get back to the community. I was beneficiary, and then I got the chance to do something good and to change things. Basically, back then, almost 17 years ago, nothing happened related to the breast cancer. There were no patient advocates, there were no psychosocial support, there were no education. I will give you an example. Basically, the people didn't speak openly about breast cancer. You were not able to see in the media mentioning breast and cancer in one sentence. So there were a lot of work for us to do. And we start with the one goal to start psychosocial support, peer support model. And in the same time, we had a hidden goal to connect these separate ethnic group together, because breast cancer does not recognize any border, any religious, any skin color, nothing. So from there, we just build from year to year, we start with a 2 partner organization, and then we end with a 22 small local based breast cancer NGO all over the country. JDC program listed until 2018, and it has to over, of course. And as a transition process and the exit strategy, I decided that I will form my own organization and continue to do, because I still feel that there is a lot of things we have to do. We are basically focused on several areas. It is area of the direct services like free mammogram checkups that we are delivering to the women in need. There is education. We are educating young women in young teenagers in high schools, healthy women all over the country, and we are educating actually survivors. We also collaborating between governmental institution and medical professionals to improve diagnosis and treatments. We organizing Race for the Cure, as you see. This year, it will be our 14th Race for the Cure in Bosnia. So there is many activities we do today, and this is just little overview of it.
It's vast, and you are doing so much. It's hard to even contemplate being director of so many activities and still having the to-do list for progress that you do. It's so impressive. And something that you touched on that I would love to ask you both about is the importance of support and community. And so can you, Nela, and then you, Daniel, talk about what it means to have supportive community, both in your work and among the people who your work serves?
So I mentioned that my country is very much complicated country with those 3 major ethnic group and the minority of Jewish community and of Jewish people. And my program is basically non-sectarian, and 99.9% of the beneficiaries of the program are not Jewish, of course. But for me, was very important, for me as a Jewish person, was very important to be able to promote Jewish values. It wasn't always obvious. We didn't always say, you know what, those are Tikkun Olam is Jewish value. No, we did Tikkun Olam. And they know that during the program, they knew that we are a Jewish organization. So many often, that is my experience. You don't loudly have to say that we Jewish organization doing good things. People could see it during the years. We have 1,000 and thousands of women who are beneficiaries of our work. Muslim women, Orthodox women, and Catholic women. And they all know that JDC is Jewish organization. And they all know that JDC don't have any interest to do it. So for me, as with my Jewish background and all my family story and the Holocaust survivor children and child, it was very important to be able to work with the non-sectarian community, to help them, to change things in those community. We fantastically collaborate with in the villages with masks, because, for example, when we are coming with a mobile mobile mammogram bus, in the village when there is no school or no ambulance, nothing, we were hosting a mask. They opened doors to provide us electricity and a space where we can bring the doctor, and they were always so grateful to us to do it to the women from the area. So I think that through our work and through the years, we really nicely promoted Jewish values. And without JDC being so determined to continue program for so many years, we would never be able to change face of breast cancer. I will just give you one example. You saw the video with a lot of women in a pink t-shirts. All those women are breast cancer survivor. When we want to organize our first race for the cure, no survivor wanted to be recognized as a survivor. No one wanted to wear pink t-shirts. It was a shame. And today, each year we have hundreds of women proudly wearing those t-shirts. We empower them related to the breast cancer. And we all know when we are empowering women in one area of her life, she is empowered everywhere.
That's so powerful that you were able to make that mindset shift. And it also sounds like that by living your values, your Jewish values, you are serving your other underlying goal that you mentioned of bringing these disparate communities together who don't necessarily mix otherwise. And so that's really a feat that you have accomplished. And Daniel, I'd love to pose the same question to you about either how community is important in your work or in the population that you serve, or also what Nela brought up, how Jewish values play out in your work, because I know that you are also serving a non-sectarian population.
Yes. Can I go back a little and then get
Absolutely.
to the point later? Okay.
Totally.
So just to start with my story, because I think it's important to understand my background, to know how we got to where we are today. And what I always try to highlight is that I usually refer to myself as an activist, but this was never a profession that I chose for myself. I never thought I'd be doing this. Actually, I was a pretty prejudiced person. I was the kind of guy who would see someone with a disability and probably walk on the other side of the road so that we don't get in connection. And my mind shift had to change the same way. So as a person who suffered a car accident and became disabled, I realized that actually nothing has changed. What the difference between now and then is not who I am, but how people look at me. And I mean, I was an asshole before my accident, and I'm still an asshole, and I'm proud of being that. And that's what I try to tell people, is that treat me by who I am and not by what you see, because it's really important. And when I started to realize this more and more, actually, my whole career started with trying to go to Sziget Festival. It's one of the biggest festivals in Hungary, and I used to go there before my accident, and then after a couple of years, as a wheelchair user, I decided, okay, I'm gonna try and have fun. And so the problem was that I had to actually buy 2 tickets instead of 1, because I couldn't go there by myself. I needed to have my assistant with me. So I was thinking of ways, and this is where my Jewish thinking comes in. How do I avoid buying 2 tickets, right? So I I reach out to the festival and I tell them, listen, if you give me free tickets, I'm gonna make a video and show people that it's an accessible festival and it's you can have fun with the wheelchair too and go out and party. And they were like, oh, okay, make a video for us. And I did the video. And to be honest, I mean, it wasn't really important for me to make something of a good quality. I just wanted the free tickets. And but it turned out the people liked it and they were reaching out to me. And it was the first time I realized, wait a second, there are almost 1.5 million people with disabilities in Hungary, and the whole population is 10 million, which means more than 10% of the population has some sort of a disability. But not every 10th person is a disabled person here on the festival. Actually, I was probably one of the few who I've met all along the week who had a wheelchair. And it was eye-opening to see that we just don't have the same opportunities. And and as someone who needed assistance and who was suffering to keep this whole system up and running, it was obvious that this is going to be something which needs to be changed. And later on, as I started raising awareness, I had the opportunity to become a participatory teacher at a Hungarian university, teaching disability studies. And I was sharing my experiences, and also at the same time sucking in all kinds of information which I have never heard about before. And probably one of the biggest shifts that I went through was understanding what the social model of disability is. The social model of disability says that disability has nothing to do with your condition. And usually the medical model says that, you know, I'm someone who needs to be fixed. And the social model says that there's nothing wrong with me. It's the society that needs to change its mindset and become more open and more inclusive. And understanding that, I first became a hero, and I was, you know, really proud and standing up and saying, okay, you guys need to change what you're doing, but I had no one behind me. And when I understood that we are the biggest and most underrepresented community, I said, okay, why don't I start gathering folks behind me and become a leader? And that was a big shift. And probably that's where Mosaic Hub and the Jewish community come in, because I was part of a fellowship program by the State Department, and I've spent about 2 or 3 months in the States just to getting connected with folks in the independent living community who have done the same thing as I'm doing right now, but probably I don't know, from the 60s in the States. And so you know, learning their stories and connecting with them, I I came home and I knew that I'm going to need a partner. And and as a Jewish person, it was obvious for me to first reach out to people that I knew from school and people that I knew are working in NGOs, supporting all kinds of civic organizations. And that's how I got to Mosaic Hub, which is a JDC program in Hungary. And what they are doing is they're incubating other NGOs. And so, first of all, I knew that the most important thing for me is that, okay, I'm gonna probably need money to develop a organization, and I'm gonna need other people. But what I really need is advice and strategy. And this was the biggest help that I got, and I'm still getting from JDC, besides all the other support. And we started becoming partners with the hub and with JDC. And I guess as a person who, so what I'm doing right now is I'm bridging. I'm a bridge between the Jewish community and the community of persons with disabilities. And what I'm trying to do is to make both sides understand that in a way we're dealing with the same issues. When it comes to oppression and when it comes to discrimination, it doesn't really matter if if you're a disabled person, you're a woman, or if you're a Jewish person. It's the same shit, and we have to deal with that.
Right. It sounds like you're really digging into the community to build up your allyship, which is especially important in Hungary. But I am also so grateful to you for telling us about the social model of disability, because I hadn't heard it phrased in that way, and it makes so much sense. So I'm really glad that you shared that here. I am also noting that, unfortunately and unbelievably, we only have 10 minutes left in this talk, which feels like it has only lasted 2 minutes so far. I cannot believe how it's flown. And so I would like to open it to audience Q&A, and it looks like Kathy has kicked us off, which is exciting for me because this is also a question that I had, and I am gonna expand on it a little bit because I would love to hear from both of you how COVID has affected your work over the past year now. Let's start with Nela.
Yeah, so very much, definitely, as COVID affected all of our lives globally and all of our works. So basically, in last March, that it happened, and we have our first lockdown. We were in a shock, but we realized that we have to connect to our beneficiaries immediately, because not just that they have their life battle with the cancer and with their own illness, but with the loneliness and the COVID as well. So we were lucky that we, in the past several years, through different activities, we start to use social media, and we invest in our social media a lot for the Race for the Cure, for the raising awareness. So we have 2 Facebook accounts with thousands of people following us, and the Instagram, and we realized that we have a perfect platform to start with activities. So we start with our regular mental hygiene on a daily basis with the short videos of psychologists giving different advices of how to live and how to go through all difficulties. We connected with Association of Oncologists in the country, and we asked them to show the short video with recommendation how and what they have to do, oncology patients, what and how they have to do. The second thing, we start with 3 times a week yoga classes. Yoga classes which were adopted to the oncology patients. So together with the feedback of our of the survivors all over the country, we started with a fitness instructor giving the classes short video as well. And in the same time, we started to think about it. Summer came, and our Race for the Cure is usually in late September, October. And we realized that we will not be able to do it in a way it's familiar to all of us. We were also lucky that me personally and my organization is a founder of the Think Pink Europe organization based in Brussels. So together with them, we developed the web platform for the online Race for the Cure in Europe. It was the biggest sport event actually happened last fall in Europe. We had a platform and people registered, make their team, become interactive. And that was the bold. We have a fantastic campaign last September where most of the people didn't do nothing. Actually, they were paralyzed because they couldn't implement their activities. No marathon, no, no concert, nothing. But we have our race. How? In the end of the day, more than 150 small group of people in 150 different places, parks, towns, cities, villages came together. Several people came together, walk and run for Race for the Cure. They registered, they sponsored the race. And that's how we could do and continue our activities. Also, last September, when last year was very critical year because early detection didn't happen in a global basis. People didn't go to the preventive checkups. We organized more than 30 health day where we provided close to 2,000 free mammogram checkups. We were very lucky and we were grateful for the community and our sponsors to help us to do it. And we continue to adopt everything what we do to the new reality. We are coming, I am pretty sure that we are a world will never be what was before, and we have to adopt. COVID came and it's a main issue, but breast cancer is still here, women cancer is still here, and the other health issues are very important. So we were also happy that we got the grant from Tikkun and from JDC, and it helped us to provide more free checkups.
I was struggling to unmute. That is such an incredible pivot, Nela, and I kind of wish that I could take you to all of my clients and tell them to pivot to social in the way that you did, because that's literally my job. But it sounds like the way that you did it provided a lot of really meaningful value to the community that you serve, not only in communal support, but also in the really practical ways like the preventative mammograms. And so that is really admirable and so important. And quickly before we wrap, Daniel, I would love to hear your answer to the same question about how COVID has impacted your work.
I'll be fast. So I think it was Albert Einstein who said intelligence is how you can adapt to the changing circumstances. And I think persons with disabilities, we have a black belt on how to adopt and how to manage change. And I think we did pretty well. Well, first of all, just as Nela said, our Tikkun in Action campaign just started right when COVID hit us. And in the beginning, we wanted to make personal videos, storytelling videos about how personal assistance affects our members. But as COVID came, it was obvious that we won't have the opportunity to make all the videos and have the whole crew go to every member, etc. So we decided to make a community video, and it was made online. Everyone was sending in their own message about how they are adapting to COVID and how they are managing their lives at home. And so actually it was pretty successful. we had more than 100 people sending us their own footage, and so we made like a 7 or 9 minute video out of it, and more than I'm hard with numbers, but I think almost more than 100,000 people saw the video, which is
Wow, that's
impressive,
huge.
especially due to the fact that in Hungary, the population is only 10 million.
Amazing.
That's huge. What reach?
I want to thank, we could talk for hours. Daniel and
Seriously.
Nela, the passion for your work is so evident in every word that you say. And it's absolutely beautiful. And this is so cliche, but you're really putting Tikkun Olam in action, and showing our community how you do that every day. So thank you so much for the work that you do and for being with us today. Jude, thank you. Your energy was incredible. And we were so grateful to have you moderate our conversation. Please stay involved with Entwine. We'll post links in the chat of how you can keep connecting with Nela and Daniel's organizations, as well as Entwine programs coming up. And when you close out of the exclusive today, a survey will pop up on your screen. We want to learn from you and learn how we can improve our program. So we'd love your feedback. And thank you to our audience for joining us today. Happy Purim to anyone who celebrates, and stay healthy, everyone. We hope to see you on our next exclusive.